Okay, so now after playing the game, you should get an idea of how you can move a sprite around your screen. So, if you get a little bit muddled, you can always click to see the actual code, the scripts that they used for the car game. So, let's go back to basics and start from afresh anyway. Obviously, we need a control to tell the computer to do something. So we usually use either when this is clicked or we tell it which key we want to use. So remember on the game that you used, it was the arrow key. So let's start with the up arrow. Okay. So if you remember, when the up arrow is pressed, these controls, you can see all of these yellow ones are the control ones that kind of tell the computer to run the program. When this is used, we have to tell it what to do. So we can change direction, or we could say the amount of steps that it wants to go. But we're going to change direction. Now, which one do you think you're going to use here? You've got to use your logical thinking. We are trying to get it to move. Another word for movement is motion. So it's the blue ones or anything to do with movement. Alright, so I'm going to use this point in a direction and click that in there. So when the up arrow is pressed, we want it to point in the direction of 90 degrees. Well, we've got to remember, if my memory is serving me right, that pointing upwards for this is just 0 degrees. And can you see there? There's a beautiful little help for us there. So if you press that, that goes up. So basically what we're telling the computer to do there is when the up arrow is pointing, the sprite will point up. And then we have to do that for each direction that we want the sprite to go in. So I'm going to pop that in here. And it doesn't matter which way you do it as long as you make sure that you cover them all. So, oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Remember, if it's the wrong one, you can get rid of it. So back to the control. When this key is pressed, it's hard to do it. I'm using a Mac and it seems trickier to do it. When the let's go with the down arrow now. What we're using, motion. When the down arrow is pressed, pointing the direction that we want it to go. Now if we remember that clicks in there. If we can't remember, it's easy, it's there, isn't it? So there you go, 180 is down. So if you remember that 0 is pointing up, and that's pointing down. So I wonder if that's going to work now. Can you see? I'm pressing up and it's going to turn that way. I'm pressing down and it's turning that way. Okay. So then I've just got the other directions to put in. So when I'm going to just grab 2 of these now, actually, a little bit of a shortcut. So when the right arrow is pressed, and when the right arrow is pressed, I am going to go and very cleverly it lets us know that the right arrow is clicking on that 90 degrees. Okay. And then the final one will be when the left arrow is pressed. We're going to point in which direction. You could try and work it out now. If it's not 0, it's not 180, it's not 90, what's it going to be? Minus 90. I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have guessed something different using 360 degrees. Okay, so that's how you get the sprite to move in the different directions. Okay, well we'll use that when you're using your game. Thank you.